I think I have a really hard time accepting that there can be simple solutions to things. I think what's really, really difficult is that all my thoughts seem really unsolvable, unfixable, and complex and layered. But the solutions or the root cause always tends to be something really annoyingly simple. Like, for example, if I have a thought where it's like, this is not necessarily a complex thought, but it's a thought that comes from many different places. Like, oh, I'm not built to be loved by someone. Like, that's a really deep, like, shitty thing to feel. That's not just a casual Thursday afternoon thought. That's a thought that comes from a place of hurt and betrayal and just low self-worth and just shame. But then the answer might simply be, have you drank water today? Obviously, like, there is, like, stuff that I need to sort out about that feeling, but I'm not gonna therapize myself in one day and fix everything about my deep childhood beliefs and my core beliefs about myself and who I am and fix my nervous system and blah, 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 therapy. I'm not gonna fix that all in one day. And so the solution, short-term solutions anyway, are so annoyingly simple that it sometimes makes me feel so sick that I don't do them out of spite. Because what do you mean? I just had like a 3 hours staring at the ceiling session about how I feel like I am so entirely too much and unlovable in every way, but I just haven't drank water or eaten a proper meal today. No, like, I'm not having that. I'm not going to go and drink water now, because now that's just made me feel like that thought has no, like, it's not validated, and that just really hurts me. I think that's just like, it's just really difficult for me to accept that I can solve my problems. I think I complain a lot about a lack of control in my life. But like, when I say that, I don't mean a lack of control in terms of like, oh, I don't think I can drink water. I mean a lack of control in the sense that, like, I can't bring myself to change, to want to do things that are going to help me. Like, that's the lack of control, I feel. Like, I know how many simple things I could be doing to improve my life. Like going to the gym, getting outside more, drinking water, cutting out alcohol, stop smoking weed. But like, instead of doing all those things, I just want to accept that there are like other reasons why I feel that way. Because like, I feel like I'm just taking so many shortcuts with things instead of addressing problems that will help me solve my larger questions in life. I'm just trying to solve the biggest questions that I have in life with a dysregulated nervous system, shit sleep schedule, bad eating, bad diet, bad pattern of drinking water, not consistent friendships, not consistent familial support. Like, I think maybe I should try and get some of those things first before I try and address all these underlying issues, but that just feels so demeaning to myself. Like, I almost just want to prove that I can just feel this shit and still fix all these things that I want to fix about myself, but instead, I'm just so obsessed with trying to tackle the world whilst not doing okay. I just also don't think that, like, the degree in which I hate myself is normal. Like, hate might be a strong word. I don't know what it is, because, I mean, I was talking about this with my boyfriend the other day, is that I think, like, when people promote on social media this idea of loving yourself, they're getting it wrong. Because in my mind, we should stop treating loving yourself as loving another person. I hate that whole phrase of, oh, what would you do if you were speaking to a friend? You should speak to yourself as if you speak to a friend. But that is just so different. You are not responsible for your friend 24/7. You're not having to listen to your friend's thoughts 24/7. You're not having to feed your friend. You're not having to clothe your friend. You're not having to shower and bathe your friend. It's obviously different. Like, you're gonna have a more complicated relationship with yourself if you are taking care of yourself like a child all the time. For example, if my friend asked me one day to listen to her thoughts all the time, to bathe her, to clothe her, to do cooking for her, to do laundry for her, I might start hating her, to be honest. And that's like not, doesn't mean that I don't love my friend, but I don't have the same obligation to my friend, to my partner, to my family as I do to myself. So this whole idea of like love yourself is so much harder. Like, I obviously do love myself if I'm giving myself a bath, if I'm making myself eat. You know, that is a certain degree of love. Obviously, there's like deep-rooted things in which I don't love myself, but you have to kind of take it at face value. If I absolutely hated myself, then I would never try and make myself happy. Like, for example, it's not just a matter of like keeping yourself alive. To a certain degree, like, you have to like yourself enough to want to take care of yourself. Because there's been times where like I really do hate everything, and I really do just feel like there's no hope in the world, and I haven't done those things for myself because I genuinely just don't care about myself. But like, I am trying every single day, and so I don't like this. Maybe I should stop saying that I hate myself. Like, I think on a very deep level, I do love myself, because I would have to love myself to be doing all these things for myself all the time. But it doesn't mean that I like myself at all. I don't think I like myself because, I don't know, I just think after every interaction or uncomfortable situation or conflict with someone, I just look inwardly in this like kind of like self-centered way. And I wouldn't like to be like that, but I just think when you're so obsessed with loathing yourself, you lose sight of taking care of the people around you. And I think it's why other aspects of my life are seeming so dreary and hopeless right now. And sometimes I have to remind myself, like, why do you hate everyone else around you right now? Because you're not even giving yourself space to exist as a person. Like, I am the foundation of everything in my life. I am like the grounding for everything. And so if I'm not like even doing anything to take care of myself, then no wonder I hate everything. And I've got to remind myself like of that sometimes. That sometimes maybe I actually don't hate everyone. Maybe I don't hate my friends. Maybe I don't hate my family. Maybe everything isn't doomed. I am just not taking care of myself as a person, and that is the most important thing that I should be doing. But it's not a very interesting thing to do. It's not very fun, and I just don't like doing it. And I'm sure that most people will agree that taking care of yourself is not fun. And every time I just see shit on social media about like, oh, I started taking care of myself and I just feel so much better. But like, when I know that people say, oh, you just have to do it without wanting to do it. But like, no, there needs to be some sort of step in between that. Because when people say shit like, you just need to do it. Like, no. There's like 5 steps that you're missing there, because I personally can't just do things I don't want to do. And I don't mean that in some sort of lazy, like, I'm of a lazy generation where sometimes we just have to work, like, blah, 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 blah. I don't mean it like that. I just mean, like, if I don't feel passionate about something, I find it really difficult to do that thing, or almost impossible to do that thing. And it doesn't have to be, like, the kind of passion that you feel towards art. But for example, I don't really like doing the dishes, right? But I'm passionate about doing the dishes because I feel like I have a responsibility to the other person that I live with and her mental health. That is something I feel passionate about, okay? But when it comes to just taking care solely of myself and doing things that are good for me, I don't find passion in that. And I'd like to know where to find this passion. I'd really like to know, like, where people gain this passion, because I don't like the answer that I will just have to do it when I don't want to until I finally want to, because I personally don't have the energy to do that, because the amount of times I've started routines, started taking vitamins, started exercising, started drinking water, and then it all collapses because I have no passion and I'm burning myself out doing things I don't want to do. Like, self-care burns me out, which I don't know why that is not a more commonly talked about thing, because people always say that you get burnt out from a lack of self-care. But personally, I get burnt out from having to remember to take care of myself. That just is too much to deal with. Like, having a shower, like, sure, I feel cleaner, but I feel so tired. I feel so burnt out, and, like, I just feel a lot, if I stop doing that, then I'll feel, like, a lot of shame. And so even starting that kind of routine is just too intimidating and too much sometimes, because the shame associated with failing at the routine is so much worse. Like, I'm not going to do that. And obviously, it doesn't mean that, like, I'm going to fail at every routine I try, but I just need some sort of guarantee with these things. Like, I just feel like I'm so burnt out with life and myself and relationships with the people around me that I do need, like, a guarantee that this step that I take towards something will be a positive step that will actually get me somewhere, because I'm kind of running out of roads to take that lead nowhere. Like, I'm really running out of those options, because I think I've been exhausting myself with doing that for quite a few years now. And I just need to see some sort of, like, positive change with that. I don't know. I just think it's not really asking for too much for that sort of thing. And then I just keep seeing all this shit all the time on social media. Like, it's not about changing, like, practical things. It's about changing your mindset. That to me also just feels like a bit too much effort. And also, I don't know what that means. I wish these, like, TikTok, Instagram Reels therapists would be a bit more specific with what they're talking about. It all just seems to be like, change the way you think about things, live your truth. But, like, where are the steps 1 to 10 of how to do those things? Because they're lacking in practically every self-help post I see. To me, also, there's something really personal about the way I think. And I think as someone who thinks quite a bit, that not thinking is the root of a lot of my happiness. But then there's something so sad about losing that aspect of myself. Because the whole change the mindset thing would say, don't stop thinking, just think about things that are more positive. But then, like, those things can't really be separated. Because I don't think I started thinking a lot until I started thinking about negative things. Like, one didn't come after the other. I wasn't really much, like, I was a deep thinker as a child, but not an overthinker. Not like someone who analysed every little thing and thought about everything all the time. I love doing things. And so I'm not just like a thinker. I'm like a very melancholic thinker. And so the whole change your mindset thing, like, no, I kind of do just have to change that about myself. But then it's just a paradox, because that is who I am. Like, that is who I am. And then, like, some people might just say, like, you shouldn't attach yourself to things that are worsening your life, because those aren't actually who you are as a person. But, like, sure it is. Like, sure those things, like, do make me who I am. And I feel that way about depression as well. And maybe I shouldn't feel that way, but that is, like, how I feel. Like, I just really feel that depression is a part of who I am. Not being depressed, like, I'm bound to be depressed for the rest of my life sort of thing. But, like, depression was a very big part of me. And it will remain a big part of me, not in the sense that it keeps coming back and consistently shaping my life in the future, but it shaped a lot of my life in the past. And it's not something that I can just, like, be cured from as simple as that. Like, I found a lot of comfort in it, and it was who I am from the ages of, like, 14 to, like, 17, potentially onwards, you know? And so just, I can't just say, oh, my depression is not who I am, because it is, like, it really is sometimes. I just feel so connected to the traits of depression that sometimes it's really difficult to distinguish, like, what is my actual personality trait and, like, what is just a characteristic of depression. Like, feeling empty. Like, I just feel empty as a person. But, like, I don't know if I ever felt like that before I was depressed. And I think recently I've been thinking a lot about this idea that, like, my childhood personality is, like, who I really am. And it's just made me really sad because it's obviously not. Like I can't get back to there. I can make moves to become more like my child self and feel, like, free in that sense. But I don't really want to accept that the way I am currently is my personality. I know personalities are completely fluid, but, like, this is not who I am now. Like, I've not been who I am for a long time. Or maybe I have, but I really don't like it. Like, it's not even on some sort of self-hating thing. The things that I dislike about myself are things that I dislike in other people as well, or dislike in a really general sense. I'm really complacent, and I don't like that. I actually would really like to not be complacent, but I just think, like, obviously some things I feel like I've got a right to complain about, or not a right, because boo-hoo, TikTok therapists, like, come at me. But, like, sometimes things feel worthy about complaining about, and that's okay. But I just complain a lot about things that just should not be complained about. You know, like, why don't I just do something about it? Like, I have a skill for thinking about things, but it's not very, like, good. But then again, I think that's just another example of, like, me trying to find problems with myself where there, like, really shouldn't be a problem. Like, I could just accept that I am a deep thinker, and that can be good and bad, but I don't have to find a good thing and just make it immediately bad. It's just a bit dumb to do that, really. I'm just kind of realizing that being depressed isn't, like, smart. Obviously, when I've not had a choice in those things, that's very different, because having mental illnesses or having mental health issues is not a matter of intelligence. That would just be ableist. But I mean, like, I have the choice to decide to get my life together and to be happy. It is my choice. There is no other, like, way of seeing it. It is my choice if I want to be happy. I'm not saying the same for everyone else, but in my circumstance, I can confidently say that I could choose to be happy. I could choose to make the right life decisions, life choices, relationship, friendship choices to be happy. And so, like, it's not very intelligent to choose to not be happy. And I just need to tell myself, like, why would I... Like, what is smart about not being happy when you have all the control and influence to make that decision? Like, there are some people in the world that have absolutely no control over their circumstances. Like, people who are fleeing war, people who have lost family members, people who have absolutely no influence over the course of their life. And they're still trying. They're still finding ways to be happy. Lots of them. And so, like, it's selfish if I just decide I'm not going to be happy just because. Because what? Like, that's stupid. It's really stupid. And I do need to get a grip on that. And I just like to start speaking to people more who can just be a bit more harsh with me. And I don't mean harsh in, like, an unfeeling way. I mean harsh in, like, I care about you. I want you to get your shit together. In my mind, there is nothing caring about, like, gently telling someone that, like, their life is falling apart whilst doing nothing to help them. I don't think that's kind. That's not me, like, on some sort of, oh, tough love is the only love. I don't think that. I'm actually a massive advocate against tough love in most circumstances. But I just feel like gently comforting someone can sometimes just be the exact same thing as being a passive bystander. You don't have to shout. You don't have to be mean. That's not what, like, being, like, nicely harsh has to be. It means telling someone the absolute truth. Being kind enough to give someone the truth. Not some sort of, like, some read or dig on them. But just saying, hey, you know, like, you have so much life inside of you. You have such an opportunity to be happy. Everyone around you wants you to be happy. Why are you continuing to treat yourself in such a manner where you are not going to be happy for this foreseeable future? That is harsh, like, niceness in my mind. I like that. I want someone to tell me stuff like that, because if someone just says to me, I'm always here for you, be kind to yourself, what does that do for me? I'm not going to listen to that, to be honest. I'm just going to, like, see that and think, okay, well, I'll probably not reach out to you because you said it in a very nice, polite way. And it doesn't really seem sincere. But if someone just sat me down and just had a serious talk with me and gave me the grace of the truth, then that would mean the absolute world to me. I need someone to be, like, really truthful with me, because my feelings aren't important. I don't care about my feelings being hurt. If I'm in a shit place, my feelings are already hurt. They can't be hurt more. I need to feel touched and moved enough that I want to do something about my life. I agree that kindness can really, really help someone, but not when I'm trying to change, not for me personally. Kindness doesn't help me change. It can help me when I'm really feeling shit and I'm not trying to get better, I'm trying to get by. That's when kindness does absolute wonders for me. But when I want to change as a human being, I want to actually make my life worth living, then, like, kindness doesn't really do it for me. I need something much more powerful than that. Even just someone to be angry on my behalf. That means the world to me. Because that means, like, someone cares about me enough that they're watching me suffer. They're watching me be complicit in my own suffering and saying, what are you doing to yourself? I'm angry at the way you're treating yourself. That's what I'd like more of.